Hey, what's up, guys? In this video, I'm going to tell you how to win a street fight, or how to win a fight in general, based on my own experience. And what experience is that? I've been boxing for 2.5 years now, so I learned how to fight proper in my later years in life. But before, back in the day, I used to get into scraps, like growing up. I'm 42 years old now, but back in the day when I was like high school and after high school, me and my friends would get into scraps with guys all the time, like from different schools, the schools down the street even. There was like a Catholic school and things. So from a young age, I learned how to be kind of tough, and I was into wrestling and such. But I don't want to make this all about me. I want to make this about how to do things proper, okay? So I know a lot of guys, when they get into like learning some type of martial art, that they gravitate towards certain ones, and jiu-jitsu is one that a lot of people get into. But I'm going to say that for like street fights, jiu-jitsu isn't going to be one that's going to be ideal. It can work, it can be good in some situations, but you'll open you up for being on the ground and a ground game, and with dealing with multiple people especially. It might not necessarily be good. So what I recommend is boxing, like learning how to throw down proper, which is with your hands, staying on your feet. Obviously, kickboxing can be good too if you kick, but the thing about kicking is it can also open you up to slipping, and also cannot be also a good thing. But hey, if you're a fucking Muay Thai kickboxer, by all means, but this isn't going to be for somebody who's been training kickboxing for like 10 years. It's going to be for somebody who wants to learn how to fight and might not necessarily know how to fight, or maybe at least know how to fight kind of conventionally in a certain type of way. So I'm going to get right into it. Normally when you're dealing with a guy, the guy might be a bit of an aggressor, and hopefully you're not aggressing, but even if you are, there's going to be a situation where he's going to be there at point A and you're going to be at point B, and there's going to be a gap that's going to be closed, or at least close enough where one is going to be able to strike each other. So this is the first thing that you got to keep in mind, is be mindful of the gap. Because from a lot of people who are not experienced fighters are not mindful of the gap, and they're within striking range, and before you know it, you got like a straight right coming right into your grill. Okay, I've seen all the time. I watch these videos online, I analyze these videos, I see that all the time, and that could be easily prevented by just keeping distance. Second of all, is where your hands are at and how your body is positioned is going to be very key. So in any type of aggressive situation, and I'll give an example of this after, you got to what I call blade up, what's commonly referred to as blading up, okay? So you got to come into a stance that is slightly sideways, so you're not just like facing directly at them like an isosceles triangle. I'm sorry, I'm getting too technical here, but it's like you don't want to be like facing like squared up against them. You want to be bladed up against them, because this is going to be for a number of reasons. One, you're going to have proper balance. Two, it's going to be harder for them to strike you. And three, you're going to be easily better to attack them. So we've established two things. One being distance, and two being body positioning, correct? The third thing you got to keep in mind is where your hands are, okay? Now, your hands shouldn't just be down by your sides. Or I watched this video the other day where literally a guy had his hands in his pockets in an aggressive situation, and he got knocked the fuck out. Obviously, you don't want to have your hands in your pockets. That's an extreme kind of thing. But just as you don't want them in your pockets, you don't want them necessarily down by your side, unless you're like Prince Nasheed or whatever his name was back in the day, or Ben Whitaker, who's like a professional boxer. They keep their hands down low. But they're able to do it because of their head movements and things. I guarantee nobody who's listening to this videos even work close to that. So you got to keep your hands up, but not. Here's the thing: if you have your hands up, it might be a bit threatening. So you have one hand up in a non-threatening way. And I saw George St. Pierre say this years ago, which is, so you're bladed up, correct? Which is to the side. And then you have your hand just like this, like you're thinking, think things. The other thing is you have your hands up being like, buddy, I don't want any trouble. That's the common one. But even that can be a bit confrontational and add to the serious of the situation. I remember one fight I got in, I was winning. He came at me, and I fought back, and I won him. But eventually I got him, and I'm like, grabbed him by the shoulders. I'm like, dude, chill the fuck out, because I knew the guy. I'm like, dude, chill the fucking shit. Chill out. And then he just went boom, really quick, knocked all my front teeth backwards. Luckily, he didn't knock them out. I still got my teeth, but I had to set them back into a place, and that sucked for about a month. Wasn't able to eat proper food properly. So just to give you an idea, you gotta have your guard up, and you gotta keep distance and keep bladed. Something like this where you're like, if somebody's coming at you and you're like just like pretend like you're thinking, because you got your hand planted here. This is the proper thing. So first of all, you're able to block whatever, but also you're able to punch from here, from point A to point B, right to the grill at the right time. Now, if somebody's aggressing on you, you have to assess the situation, at what time you're going to act, okay? And there's a few tricks and techniques I could say here, okay? But it's all case dependent on what's actually happened to you. First of all, granted that you kept your distance and you kept your like so that he's not able to just sucker punch you. There's going to be a point in time where he might close that gap, in which case it's going to be game on, okay? But guess what? You're already prepared. Your preparation is half the battle. I think it was that G.I. Joe or something. But you're already prepared. You're already bladed up, so you're not square on like this. You're not going to have your hands in your pockets. You're bladed, you're like this, like thinking, right? Well, here's what I would do. Here's what the situation I would do. You throw one feint. Okay? A feint. But you have to practice this, and I recommend going to boxing. You feint a jab, and then you come through with a straight, either right to the chops, or one where I guarantee they're not going to be blocking for, because I guarantee they're not actually a proper fighter. And if they're a proper fighter, then you're already fucked. You throw it right to the straight right to the solar plexus. Okay? My coach calls this the Shoppers Drug Mart special, because in Canada we have this place called Shoppers Drug Mart, and he lives in this kind of sketchy part of town in Niagara Falls. Anyway, this guy tried to beef on him and didn't realize that him and his brother are like top level coaches, boxing and shit like that, like boxing their whole life. He's been scrapping his whole life, right? Anyway, this guy came on him. He threw a fake jab upstairs. I don't know if it connected or not, but it doesn't necessarily have to. And then one right to the stomach. He said that he felt the guy's spine, like he hit that guy so hard, which like through his stomach. And then after that, you can, if you're a good boxer, you could do like a hook up top, or just ground and pound after that. Trust me, nobody's going to be expecting that in a street fight, especially. And even like even in a boxing, like when I spar with guys, whatever, in boxing, that's it. I throw that Shoppers Drug Mart special. I just call it that, but it's just a jab upstairs. It could be a fake jab, but just like a throwaway jab, right, upstairs. You do that a lot in boxing, but in a street fight, it's like, okay, he's gonna react to that shit. Like, okay, he's coming at you, fake jab upstairs, and just fucking cock one right to the body. Granted, you could also cock one right to the face too. That would work too. But after that, doesn't matter if even he's a fucking big guy, he's gonna be stunned hard, because those ones hurt. A punch to the face doesn't necessarily hurt. Okay? Like I could be cracked right to the fucking face and it wouldn't hurt. Granted, it could knock me out, or it could make me dizzy. And one to the body's not gonna knock you out, so you're unconscious. But it's gonna hurt like a motherfucker. And after that, it's gonna be game on for anything, because he's not gonna be able to do anything for at least 20 seconds after that. So that's what I recommend in a street fight. Seriously. And so how do you practice this? How do you get good at this? First of all, go to a boxing gym and learn how to box properly. Second of all, if you have some type of heavy bag, set one up in your backyard on a tree, or like in your basement on a stand or whatever, and just practice that exact, where it's like you blade up, you have your hand up here, or it's like do, like, if he comes at you, you'd be like, and then throw one up top, so he's going to react, and then just bam, straight right to the fucking solar plexus. And it's going to be game over, I guarantee, man. It's one he's not going to expect. It's really hard to block that punch. Really hard. Now, there's a whole number of ways. I know maybe in the comment section, you're just like, no, you got to do this, you got to do this, do this. Like, there's a whole number of things that you could do. But as somebody who is kind of novice, this is what I recommend to them. The other thing, obviously, is you do that fake jab upstairs and then just straight them. But they're going to be prepared. Like, most guys who are street fighters are looking for you just coming up and throwing that straight. But guess what? When you don't do that, they don't know how to react. Now, there's one other thing I'm going to mention, which is, and this is if you have some relatively good fight experience, is the guy who's fighting you is guaranteed not going to have good fight experience. So when he fights you, he's not prepared to fight more than 10 or 20 seconds. So if you're able to bring that past that 10 or 20 second mark, he might be a smoker, he might be an alcoholic, he's probably doesn't train, whatever. He's going to be so fucking gassed after 20 seconds of trying to punch you. If you're able to hold out past 10 or 20 seconds, now you have to be a bit more advanced for this. But I've done this before with this one guy. I was in Niagara Falls again, which is kind of a sketchy place. Okay, lots of hoodlums there and such. I was at this bar with this guy, my friend, and I think my friend's friend might have been involved in drugs or something. Okay, I'm not, but he was. I don't know the guy. I don't know his name. I never met the guy before. Anyway, he was involved with this black guy who was there, and the black guy started swinging at him and actually cracked him like 2 or 3 times. But I could tell based on his swings and things, because like I said, I was boxing, that this black guy was not like a good fighter. Just based on it, like, it was just like sloppy. So then the black guy started swinging at my buddy, and my buddy's like, what? He ducked him, and like, what the hell? And then the black guy started coming at me, and like hard. And what I do, I was just sidestepping him and things, and it lasted for about 10 or 20 seconds, and then he's like puffing and puffing. I'm like, dude, you're so gassed. I could fucking destroy him right now, but I didn't. Like, I avoided him. I want to avoid conflict, but that's a perfect example where I just fucking like sidestepped him and moved back and then did like little pivots and things and didn't even hit the guy. I didn't even have to hit the guy because I didn't want to hit the guy because I didn't know if he had a gun or something. By the way, this is a bit more something I take into account as well. Like, this black guy who's a potential drug dealer and shit, and if I was going to have a gun, I'd shoot you if you hit him. And he did have another buddy there. So, but regardless, I gassed him out without actually having to fucking fight the guy. So if you're good enough to do that's something to avoid, although somebody who's a novice might not be able to do that properly. I saw videos where this guy tried to bob and weave a guy, and it might have worked the first punch or two, but then he got cracked 1, 2, 3. It was like a baseball game or something online. So don't try to be like fucking Muhammad Ali necessarily, right, all the time, right? But so to get back into, to emphasize the main point of this situation, first of all, if you don't know how to fight at all, go to a boxing gym and at least take some, like a personal class. Like, there's plenty of coaches. Boxing coaches are kind of broke as fuck. Like, you could probably get a class for like $20, like personalized, and learn basics. You could actually join and, like, train with the other individuals as well. That would be good. It's great fitness and things, but the key is that you're going to learn actually how to throw a proper punch, and that's going to be the key. And when, like I said, when you learn how to throw a feint or a throwaway jab upstairs or an actual proper jab upstairs, and then you follow through with a straight, because the first one they're going to react to, and then the second one they're not going to be able to react to, and especially to the body. Like I'm saying, man, body shots are going to destroy them. Even a big guy, if there's a big guy, big tough guy, whatever, if I threw a proper body shot on him and I hit him right in the solar plex, man, that's gonna suck for them. But not just that, some crackhead or meth head on the street where he's beefing on you. Keep distance, you let him close the gap, and you fake one upstairs and bam, one down below. Done. And after that, you can do what you want. You can fucking boo fuck him or whatever you want after that. I don't know. I'm not a violent guy. Like I'm kind of a guy that's like would rather avoid violent situations. But if it comes down to me, like I said, I've been in situations, a lot of situations before in the past in my life, and things like I'm not shying away from anything. You know what I mean? And I know what works and what doesn't, and I know that 90% of the time, most guys don't have any formal type of training, but they have like street training. So you gotta be careful, especially for those guys. But guess what? They're like, I gave you the trick and technique to defend against these guys, which I'll reiterate. Keep distance. Don't be within the range. Second, blade up to them, but don't in a non-threatening way, right? Like you're just thinking like this. And then you're already cocked and loaded up here. You're already cocked and loaded up top. And then you're going to have your lead hand, which if they come at you, you fake one upstairs and throw one down below real hard. Practice that. What do you guys think? Any real fighters would disagree with me? Leave in the comments. I'd really like to hear what you guys think. But what not to do is then just try to grapple them and do some type of like rolling on the ground trying to armbar him or something. Because guess what? They might have a buddy there. Like I was telling you, the situation I was in. His buddy's going to run up and just fucking kick me right in the head or in the neck. Game over, man. I might fucking die. So you want to keep it on your feet. You don't want to kick necessarily in things, because kicking, he can grab you. He can grab your leg and toss you. You can slip on the grass or something, or I don't recommend it. But if you're a Muay Thai fighter, yeah, by all means kick. I tell you not to kick. But if somebody is untrained, I don't recommend kicking always. But there's a time and a place, so maybe practice some kicks too. But the last thing is keep on your feet, keep distance, and move. And if you have good cardio and you have some relatively good training, you might be able to outlast him, and he's going to be gassed out, huffing and puffing, and you're good. And say you hit him in the stomach, and then he's still coming at you and he's huffing and puffing. Man, you could destroy the guy after that. Literally destroy him. So I'll leave it there, guys. What are your thoughts on this video? Kind of like this video. Let me know if you want to make more videos like this as well. Thanks for watching. Peace.